All right. Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Amy. I've been helping with coordinating the adult faith formation speakers here. So today we have with us Erin Sinwell, who is the interim executive director at Family Promise. She had a lovely presentation for us today. Oh my gosh, it's up now. You got it to work? Oh, oh, okay. She had a lovely presentation, but we were having some technical difficulties, so we won't be using that, but she'll just be chatting and talking with us about who they are and what they do. So with that, I will turn it over to Erin. Thank you.
Do you want to hand these out to everyone so if someone does want a visual? All right, we have some brochures that I just updated that Amy's going to hand out. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. My name is Erin Sinwell. I'm Interim Executive Director with Family Promise Rochester. I'm going to give a little bit of history. We are formerly known as IHN, or Interfaith Hospitality Network, which is probably, if anyone who's been here a while, is what you know us as. We went through a name change a while back, and it's now Family Promise. We used to rotate through churches. Church rotation model is how we work. We help families experiencing homelessness. Families in our program would stay at a different church a week at a time. We had different host churches and buddy churches. Churches would provide meals, overnight supervision, and kind of just hang out with the kids and families. Sadly, with COVID, we had to change everything. So 2 years ago, we bought a property which is in the Kutsky Park area. It's a house. It just looks like a regular house. It's right across the way from the United Way parking lot. We can have 3 to 4 families at a time. Right now, we have it set up with 3 bedrooms, and there's 2 offices, 2.5 bath, and then there's shared kind of a toy room, living room, dining room, kitchen. So to be considered part of our program, you either need to be 18 or older, pregnant, or some sort of family unit. And that family unit can be different. It could be a grandmother, the guardian of her children. It could be mom, kids, mom, dad, kids. So the family unit looks kind of however it looks. Families can stay in our program 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. We have a case manager who does monthly check-ins, and as long as families are working towards their goals, they can continue to stay in our program. We do background checks on families. We ask that families are drug and alcohol free while they're in our program. Let's see here. We do not currently require any vaccines or COVID vaccines for families right now. That's been kind of a big problem. We have a health and safety committee. Big problem depending on who you are looking at it. We would wish that our families would consider that more. So that's an education piece that we've been working on. My favorite part of our program are life skill classes. So 2 times a month at Northrop Education Center. Families that are in the program are required to attend, and previous families, graduate families, are invited to attend. We find that we have a lot of families coming back, so it's really cool. I would say usually we have between 40 to 50 individuals each time we have one of those classes. And the adults kind of go for an education time. It can be on things like parenting skills, health and safety, food prep, of course, things like job interviews, job resumes, balancing a budget, insurance, just things like that we feel like maybe we want to give families these skills to carry forward with them. Little kids go kind of to their own area for supervised play, and then the middle-aged kids, we usually do a craft, an activity. We did snow globe making this past Thursday, which was super messy, but it was really fun. We've had someone from the RAC come and teach yoga with the kids, which was really cool. I was really impressed that they all tried it, even though it maybe wasn't their most favorite. So that is one opportunity that we are seeking volunteers for. If anyone has a skill, anything that they are passionate about, whether it be art, something more active in the spring, we can also be outside. We're looking for anyone who has ideas or a class, or even if you don't have that, we also have, could just have volunteers there as well. We have been providing meals. We noticed that families would come often hungry. Maybe they just got off of work or they picked their kids up from school and headed over. So we've been providing meals. In the fall of 2022, we had 5 different restaurants that donated meals for free, which was pretty cool. Mr. Pizza North, Nupa, Potbellies, Five West, Forager. So that was really cool. So yeah, I like to talk about our life skill classes a lot. Let's see here. What else can I tell you? As far as churches go, right now we don't anticipate going back to the church rotation model. I mean, we have 15 to 20 families on our wait list at a time. So, some people have asked us, well, can you do both? Can you have families at your site and do the church rotation model? That sounds great, ideally, but we're hearing from a lot of churches that, their numbers are down. They're having trouble finding volunteers even within their churches to, be an usher or whatnot. So, and we also don't know if we could get those number of host churches back. 52 weeks a year is a lot, and I know most churches used to take 4 weeks a year. So yeah, right now I don't think that that's going to be coming back. I mean, 4 or 5 years from now, maybe COVID will be, no longer a thing and everything will be different. But there are a number of volunteer opportunities for congregations or individuals. We are looking for meal donations, and some of this is in your brochure. It does have there's a Sign Up Genius. It has a website link. So meal donations right now we're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday evenings, and then Saturday morning breakfast. And that's contactless. So we have a front porch that has a cooler. So if anyone, is concerned about having contact with families, you can just bring it right in and put it in the cooler there. Some people really want to see the families and say hi. So if you want, you're welcome to ring the doorbell or knock on the door. And usually a cute little kid comes to the door and you hand them the food and whatnot. We are seeing problems with space in our kitchen. 3 families share one regular size fridge, which is kind of hard to imagine. I'm having a little bit of problem with the amount of food waste that we're having, just because a lot of it, they just don't have place to put it. You might bring a really nice meal in a really big pan. It doesn't get all eaten, and then there's not room in the fridge. So one of the things is we were thinking about asking people to kind of portion it separately. How many of our families are, if we have 2, maybe you bring kind of 2 smaller containers instead of 1 large one. So meal donations, that's one. I mentioned life skill classes. We started a Friday family fun night, and one church has taken advantage of this, where you come and pick up the families. Some of them have their own car, some of them don't drive or don't have a vehicle. We have a van that you can drive, or like a staff can help if someone isn't comfortable with that. So you would bring the families here to your church, and then kind of whatever you wanted to do for the night. I know that they've done a meal, they did a movie night, they did a game night. So that's something as well that's kind of a newer thing that we're trying to offer. Right now there are, question.
We actually have like a family movie night that we're doing at our church now, and we were just sitting here saying it would be cool to invite them.
Yeah, to just do it. Yeah. That way too, I think it's nice too to have interaction, and then, and not just be like 2 volunteers, standing on the side watching them have fun, but kind of that feeling of community. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Yeah.
We have one like this upcoming Friday.
Yeah, no, that would be great. There are 9 kids right now, and they are a lot, especially on the days when there's no school. So one thing I'm thinking about how spring break is coming up. So I was trying to think if there's some sort of opportunity, whether it be during the day or at night, if a volunteer wanted to come in for an hour, bring a lunch or bring a craft, read. I don't know. So that might be something that we can send some information about out after I've thought about it a little bit more. So we have one baby, and then they're all 11 and under. So I know there's a 3-year-old, there's a 4-year-old, 6, 7, 9, 11. I might not remember all exactly, but yes, they're kind of 11 and under are the ages. Yep. One thing that we've noticed with COVID and the number of evictions is that the length of stay in our program has gone up. I mentioned there's the 30, 60, 90 days. A lot of times families are ready to graduate from the program, but what they're missing is that affordable housing. And our case manager, that's what she's working on, but I know a lot of landlords have kind of been burnt. A lot of people aren't wanting to rent if you have poor rental history, if you have no rental history. So one thing that we just started this past summer is the Olmsted County is leasing to us a duplex, which then we lease to families based on their income. So they're not paying full price, and then they're able to get a little renter's history and a little practice as well for like having your own place, practice paying utilities, monthly payments and whatnot. So it's been a bummer for us that our numbers in 2022, the number of families we were able to help is definitely down, but it's just because we're not going to just we're not kicking anybody out because we can't, do our job finding them affordable housing yet. So our length of stay has increased, which has been a bummer. One thing that's been really hard for me, the more I'm there, the more I see that there really is no place for families to go. We're not an emergency shelter. To be part of our program, I mentioned we do a background check. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to do all that. They also have to agree to our program, and we have, things that they're required to do. So we had a mom that stopped by one day. She had a dog and a kid in her car with her, and she said that she had mold in her apartment and didn't have anywhere to go because she was waiting for someone to come look at it. She felt like she was sick because of her apartment, but there was nothing that we could offer her. I mean, we were full, number one. We didn't have a bedroom, and even if we weren't full, she wasn't looking to participate in our program. If she was fleeing domestic violence, she could go to the women's shelter, but she wasn't. She had been at the Dorothy Day House. She didn't feel comfortable with the number of men and adults that were there. I have heard that the Dorothy Day House will allow families if they have the space, but it's not necessarily recommended. The landing is a place during the day, but kids are not allowed. The warming shelter is at night, but kids are not allowed. So it's just really, I don't know, Rochester is a large community, and it just surprises me that there isn't a place that we can have families go. So Nicolette is our case manager. She's the one that does more face-to-face work with families. But like I said, the more I'm there, the more I am also doing it. And it just kind of hurts your heart when you hear these stories and there's kind of nothing that we can do. So let's see here. We've taken on a couple new programs on the United Way. We did a grant with them that's kind of a shelter or a prevention and diversion from homelessness. So Nicolette is in charge of that program. A lot of times we get applications or phone calls for people who are maybe just kind of one thing away. Maybe they need a car payment. Maybe they're not up to date on their rent or something like their utilities. So that's something that we started. Any questions? I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of my presentation and what I'm missing. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of people stay in their cars. A lot of people stay with other people, and that's kind of the hard part too is, the definition of being homeless is kind of viewed differently by different people. So like we would consider, the family experiencing homelessness if they're staying on someone's couch, but not everyone does, and then they might not, hit that, first in line for services and whatnot. I know that we occasionally, because Family Promise is a national affiliate, there's 200 throughout the country, so sometimes we do send them to other locations, like there's one in Anoka, there's one in Eau Claire. Yeah, good question.
And those other locations are able to take?
Sometimes, yeah, we would call before we sent them over there. Yeah, yep. I think it's interesting too, a lot of affiliates are moving away from the church rotation model just because of COVID. Like they have, executive director, regional meetings and hearing what other people are doing and whatnot. So a lot of people are doing more kind of this static site. So funding, yep. So individuals, churches, we have a number of grants that we apply for each year. Mayo grant, we got one in December, which is really exciting, which was $30,000. So we were very grateful for that. I don't know if you guys saw on Facebook, John Marshall just did this huge, well, all the high schools did this huge giving, and Christmas Anonymous and us were at JM. So we think we'll be getting a check from them, which is super exciting. Rochester Area Foundation, OMC, the Elks Club. So there's a lot of little ones in our community, and there's of course big ones as well. So.
Get any funding from the county or Rochester?
So we don't, and we've been having a lot of conversations with them. They had a series of meetings. It was like 6 or 8 weeks that we went to weekly, where they're talking about how they're getting a lot of money and like where it should be, like what are the needs and where is it going to be going to. And I don't know if you guys heard that the county is going to be hiring 2 social workers that'll be embedded in the schools, which they're hoping will help with, kids and families and whatnot. We still don't think that they're just going to write us a check, which is, of course, they like what we do and they support us. The hard part is I feel like a lot of people are having suggestions for more things that we can take on, but with our small staff, we don't have the capacity for that. So we would love it if they would be, if the county would be like, we'll pay for another social worker for you, because then we could take on, more families. But Nicolette is already, her plate is full, so and she has a hard time saying no. Yeah. Sorry, I probably didn't even go the whole, I'm super short. I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. Yes, yep. And my email, yep. Yes.
And so the contact, if people think of questions later, the contact information is in that brochure.
Yeah,
If they
yep,
want to hold it.
yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a church, we should have the conversation of what do we want to do. We should, work together as a group. And like, easy enough, we already have a family movie night.
Yeah.
We just need to coordinate setting it up and somebody to draw it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then to bring them back home afterwards. Pizza, movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
For
that's
each
one
family
thing.
is only $5, which we can easily obviously.
Mm-hmm.
What is,
Kids involved and,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty easy.
I'm wondering when spring break is, if we could take a day during spring break and
Mm-hmm.
provide a lunch.
I thought it started, yeah, I thought it was like very end of March, first week of April. But yeah, I can send a,
April 9th is Easter.
Yeah,
okay.
It's on our, I think, it's on our faith formation planning document that some of us maybe have. Anyway, you can look at that too, because I think it's blocked in there,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And also volunteers, do you have an age limit?
As long as an adult is with. No, because like my kids volunteer too, so as long as you're there with them, yeah.
So our confirmation kids could do it.
We do have a number of committees. We have a board. Emily is on our PR committee. Thank you, Emily. If anyone is interested, yeah.
We're gonna ask, so A, are you hiring at all, and B, do you need other volunteers and other committees, or?
Yeah, so we're not hiring right now. We always need volunteers or committee members. We're kind of finalizing our 2023 events. We always do the choir concert at Bethel Lutheran Church, which we've done for a number of years. We had it this past November, and it was awesome. It's a really good turnout. We have a silent auction, and different music groups come and do a concert. We do a free will offering. And then we have a couple other events that we're working on. We're hoping to kind of have an event schedule that then we can send out to the churches to either help promote or come to, or if you want to volunteer at different events.
Like help outside the house or around the building or?
Yes. That's one thing that it's interesting that when we bought this property, it's an older house and it just doesn't stand up to the number of people that are in it and, going through it. So yeah, I know that last year in the spring we had kind of like a beautification day where we had volunteers come and help, kind of get the lawn and the outside looking nice. We do have someone that occasionally comes to help with maintenance stuff, but that would be another thing that we would need help with. I know there's a room we want to repaint. The floor in the kitchen has some tile that's coming up. Unfortunately, Nicolette and I don't know how to do any of that. So if there is any people out there who are handy with tools or that kind of stuff, yeah.
I also am wondering, as you were talking about the meals, if there's space or interest or desire to have like either a second refrigerator or like a chest freezer, so that the church could do like those. I don't know.
So I don't think that there is. We bought a small standing like upright freezer. Semcac recently partnered with us and brings twice a month frozen prepared individual meals. And so we wanted to have space for that, so we got an extra freezer. I mean, ideally, our board is talking about possibly looking at other locations. Like, we kind of feel like we've outgrown our space. I mean, like I mentioned, we have 15 to 20 families on our waiting list. We wish that we could help more people at a time. So we're kind of starting to have like strategic meetings to see, kind of what our next steps are going to be about possibly whether it be a new build or looking for, a space that already exists that we could sell the current property and move someplace else. So, because yes, we would love to have like a chest freezer or like an industrial grade freezer and appliances and whatnot. Yeah.
Do you have playground equipment for the kids in the backyard?
I wouldn't call it. There is a backyard. We have. I wouldn't call it like playground equipment. Like there's like a house out. Like a plastic like playhouse outside. There's bikes, stuff like that. I mean, there's not like a swing set or anything like that. The United Way. I was just gonna. Yeah, the United Way building right across the street does have that park. Yeah. Yep.
And that playground's open? It
Yep.
isn't chained up? Okay.
Yep.
Furniture-wise, you have everything you need.
We do, yep. We rotate through things, like right now, on our Facebook page, I put one of our needs as an area rug, because unfortunately someone brought some slime home, and it is now all over the rug, and we cannot get it out, so, I know, we're like, how did slime get in here? So usually we post those needs on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, or if the churches are interested, I mean, I can send it out via an email to someone as they come as well, so.
And do all your kiddos who are there right now have all the winter needs they need? As far as
Yes. Yeah, yep. So Shields donated a whole bunch of brand new winter stuff, which was so awesome. So we have some used stuff that people, donate as well. And then we had a lot of new stuff. Yeah. Thanks. They do, yeah. Yep. And we actually kind of opened it up almost kind of like a clothing closet in the basement on Wednesdays, because we do get so many donations or new things that we're inviting our graduate families to come back and kind of like shop through and take stuff. So, yeah.
And you do take good used?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know we have a need right now for toys, meaning toys with not very many parts. Like little parts get lost very easily. Like there's puzzle pieces all over the floor. Like that doesn't work. But kind of the bigger, chunkier, type plastic, durable toys type of thing. So. Well, I'm sorry that it was a little short and that we could not get our technology to work with our presentation, because I had some fun pictures, but hopefully that brochure will show you some too. So, and we are open, if anyone ever just wants to stop by. We're usually there kind of like 9 to 4:30. If anyone wanted a tour, feel free to stop by and we can show you around. So, yeah. Okay, well, good. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for being here.